Hello, welcome. I'm Derek Prince, and welcome to Healthcare Mad Genius. With me today, I have Conner Greenspan, Regional Vice President of Operations. Conner, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
All right. We wanted to bring today, Connor's got an interesting story of how he got into our profession and how he was introduced to HMG altogether. So, Conner, if you could let everybody know how you came about and how we got here.
Yeah, interesting and famous story for sure. So let me set the setting here. It's 2012, sunny Southern California. I had just graduated college at Oregon State. Moved back home with my parents, was finishing an internship to finish my political science degree. And I had to get a bartending job and ended up getting one at a golf course in Encinitas. And every morning I'd go play around before my shift that was at 12. And you know how it worked when you were an employee, you put your name with the list, on the list with the starter. And then whenever there was an opening with the group, they would pair you. So go there, put my name on the list, happenstance occurs, and they pair me with the threesome, two guys from Texas, you and Wayne, and Tracy Mazik. And so we play the round, we hit it off, we have a great time. I remember chopping it up, laughing, having a great time. And after the round, I said, hey, come up to the bar, we'll keep hanging out.
Well, I want to stop you just so you understand. When he says play around the golf, Wayne is actually the golfer of our group. He is being very generous when it comes to me. When it comes to actually playing golf, I swung clubs and every once in a while hit a ball. But thank you for saying playing around. I appreciate that.
You hung with it. We chopped it up for sure. And so you guys come up to the bar. You know, your inquisitiveness. Hey, Conner, what are you doing? And
well, I am a scratch drinker, not a scratch golfer. So imagine that we're in the bar.
Yeah, we got you in your element for sure. And so we were chopping it up. And you're like, hey, what are you doing? And at that time, I was studying to take my LSATs to go to law school. I had just taken a commercial chemical sales commercial chemical sales position. And
I remember thinking at the time, that's got to be the worst job ever, selling industrial strength chemicals.
Undoubtedly. And he said, hey, we run nursing homes. Give me your number. Take mine. I'm going to call you tomorrow. And I'm sitting here going, yeah, you know, BS. I've heard this 1,000 times, right?
Yeah.
And sure enough, the next day, you call me and said, hey, it was super great to meet you. Want to schedule a formal phone interview, talk about more than what we do. So we scheduled a phone interview. You call me right after. You say, hey, I want to fly you out to Houston. I want to show you the facility that you'll be at. It's an administrator in training position, a paid assistant administrator position. And you clearly laid it out that we will teach you how to run a building, right? And that was your foresight on it, right? Give me someone that doesn't have any experience in it, and I'll show you how to run a building.
Just kind of that's what we were looking at, and it was all because of just the conversations that we had. So tell me a little bit about what your first impressions of when you got to Texas and you rolled up in here, got off the plane.
So my first impressions, and mind you, the first time I landed in Houston was the first time I had been in Texas in my entire life. And, you know, 15-year-old Southern California Conner, if you told me I was going to end up in Texas for my life, I probably would have given you a nice gesture. But I land in Houston in June, and I get off at the airport, and the first thing I noticed is that there was air conditioning in the parking garage.
A little warm.
Yeah, a little toasty. And I have never felt heat like that in my life. But anyway, so we go to the Woodlands, and we tour the building. It's the first time I've ever been in a nursing facility. You know, my mom is a registered nurse, has been for 30 plus years, so I know.
God love her. She's a great woman. Love your mom.
Yeah, you know, and she's like, oh my gosh, this is such a great opportunity. You know, she was really pumped about it. So we toured the building. The facility was great. I was a little suspect of the administrator you're putting me with. No, I'm just joking. But
he's referring to Aaron Horton, who is now our VP of Operations. God love him.
Yeah.
Aaron and Conner have a long relationship. We'll get to that a little later on. He lovingly calls Conner Jr.
Yeah. So we toured the building, and then, mind you, I hadn't really talked or had much interaction with Wayne. I mean, I know we talked a little bit on the course. So then we toured the building. We're going to go play some more golf. And you're like, hey, Conner, ride with Wayne. And it was funny because when I got in the car, I know Wayne was just going, what is going on here?
Little different personality than mine.
Yeah, as
Derek
well
and
as
Wayne.
just like we found this guy on a golf course and he's about to be AIT, and so he talked to me a little bit about my background and my experience and what I thought, and it was a great conversation. And so sure enough, we wrap it up, and I end up taking the position that you'd offered, and moved out here in June, and that started my career with HMG. But the craziest thing about this story, and I think there's a lot of forces at play, was when you, like I said, when you worked at the golf course, you put your name on the list, and you start to factor in, had I went 2 minutes earlier or 2 minutes later, I 100% would have been paired with another group. So that it's just outstanding to think of how everything lined up with that, as well as you guys couldn't play.
Yeah, we were supposed to play Torrey Pines, and we got booted. It didn't pan out, and so
Yeah.
Lawrence was supposed to be with us. Something messed up. We were staying actually on Torrey Pines, and
Yeah, 'cause
then
he would have been the fourth.
Tracy, correct, and then Tracy just happened to live in Encinitas, and that's why we ended up at the Encinitas Golf Ranch, because it was close to his house. And I mean, random forces at play on
Yeah.
how we ran into you.
The stars were aligned for sure, and honestly, the best decision I've ever made. Being a long-term care provider is truly my identity. It's something that I 100% enjoy. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say it's an easy profession, but extremely rewarding, and just so grateful to have had all this occur to me.
So tell me a little bit about that. When you talk about it's extremely stressful. It is a tough profession. I think everybody knows that. Several of the people that are listening or watching, they're in different capacities within the organization. Kind of give me some insight into what you experienced, what you didn't expect, and then how you're kind of dealing with it at this point.
Sure. I mean, it's 100%. It is very stressful. It's a very challenging job. We're dealing with all different walks of life, all different patients, all different families. Just all the challenges that come with it. And so, when you're very involved and you're very caring, and you want to make sure you're delivering good care and taking care of your patients and employees, it truly takes everything that you have. You're out there on the floor, help cleaning rooms, changing beds, working with some of the staff and a lot of the challenges that they face, at work or even outside of work, and just holding it all together so that the facility runs accordingly. And it's a lot, but it's the greatest part is when you get those daily wins of a patient meeting their therapy goals and discharging, or seeing a patient that may have been wheelchair bound, a long-term care custodial patient that's been wheelchair bound forever but now is transferring by themselves. All those daily wins that you get to see come to fruition in the facilities is really kind of what keeps driving you and what keeps you going. So that's the best part.
Oh, love that. Well, and also, if you could sum up for our viewers and our listeners, what advice would you give the people, in whatever capacity, in whatever role they're serving in within HMG? What kind of advice would you give them?
Obviously, HMG as a whole, and you can tell across our portfolio, we love to recruit within. I mean, most of our mid-level leadership and even at the facility level, a lot of them start at various positions or various levels in our organization and work your way up. And HMG has demonstrated over the last years, we've grown substantially, and we're always looking for great, strong talent, specifically from within, because our culture, our systems, our values, and there is so much opportunity for you to advance in this organization and really achieve some great things for you, both personally and professionally. Whether you're clinical, we have a college now, you can get your RN, even into a position like mine that I started with the AIT position. So we're always looking for great talent within the company, and I think if you're dedicated and work really hard and make it known that you want to advance, we 100% take full advantage of it and take it very serious, and want to make sure that we get you to where you want to go.
Excellent. I think that's great. Guys, I think the moral of the story, thanks so much for sharing Thanks so much for sharing your story with us, Conner. I think for those of you that are listening out there, for HMG, we mentioned before, we truly try to find talent in all spaces. It's not just a one-stop shop. You can find people like Conner. We found people on the golf course. We've found people in retail. We've found people in all different aspects and in different walks of life. And just because you've got to find somebody that wants to take care of people. So again, we want to do that. We want to find people that want to take care of people. We want to find driven people, and they don't have to be in our profession currently. We look for people. We find that and we want to work with people that want to be a part of the organization. So I encourage you to continue on that journey. If you know people that would like to take care of people, that would like to be on our team, to like to come on board and actually grow, we would love for you to let them talk to us. We'd love to bring them on board, and we want to grow with you and with them. Thank you again for joining in with Healthcare Mad Genius. We look forward to our next broadcast. Thanks for your time, and we'll be talking soon. Thank you.
There you go.